So I have a serious question to ask in today's video. And that question is, why not get sober? You got nothing else going on. Actually, is that a question? The first part's a question. The second part is a statement. Anyway, that's today's statementy question. Why not get sober? You got nothing else going on. Okay? And before y'all jump all on me, some of you are going to say, I don't know about you, Tim, but I do have other stuff going on in my life. Well, here's the good news. Anything else you have going on, if you do have something worthwhile going on, getting sober is going to help that. And that's the real point of this video. Now, sometimes we don't have much going on. You know, we're just doing the regular, life is lifing. We're getting up, going to work, trying to pay the bills, trying to feed the kids, whatever, kind of in a rut. And honestly, that's why a lot of times we pick up addictions. Kind of bored. Nothing else happens. You know, I know for me, any evening could become a party with the right 4-pack of beers. You know what I mean? And that was one of the reasons I think I kept drinking. I started because I wanted to like party with friends and stuff, but I think I kept going because like it made my evenings interesting. Every evening was interesting if I got drunk. Even if nothing really happened, the beer made it exciting. But that also kept me from bringing anything like real into my life. Or it slowed it down, it hindered it. And so that's the beauty of sobriety is like when we get rid of, like what do they say? Like the universe abhors the vacuum, right? So when you get rid of something else usually pops up to try to take its place. And a lot of times it'll be something positive. If we get rid of an addiction, if we get rid of like drinking every night or using or whatever we're doing, if we get rid of that, that opens up space, opportunity, and time for a lot of the positive things we want to bring into our life to come into our life. Or we can expand on some of the positive stuff we already have in our life, but that just hasn't really been able to take off because we've been putting so much time and energy into drinking, into our addiction. So it's like, why not get sober? It can't hurt. You know what I mean? Can't hurt. Why not do it? And I kind of wanted to make a lighthearted video about sobriety because I think so often when we talk about sobriety and kicking our addictions and things like that, it's so serious, bro. Like it's so serious and we're down on ourselves and for the rest of my life, I got to be fighting with this and it's such a monkey on our back. And yes, it is hard. It is painful. But it doesn't have to be so serious. I think if we bring a little levity, a little lightness to it, right? We're winning. Bro, sis, if you're watching this video, you're winning. If you're trying to get sober, you are winning. There was a time we wasn't checking for no sobriety videos. We wasn't trying to get sober. Like that cut into our drinking time, right? Right? So like if we are at a place where it's like, man, I need to get some motivation. I need to get some encouragement. I'm trying to stop. Last week I went, 5 days without drinking, kind of messed up on the weekend, but I'm back. Boom, boom, boom. We are winning. We're up. And we just got to keep doing that. Even if every week, every Monday you say, I'm not going to drink ever again, and you make it through the week and you always mess up on the weekends, you're still winning, right? And of course the day will come where you don't mess up on the weekends, but like we're winning. The fact that we're trying is a win. I believe that like we win the battles, time wins the war. I was thinking about this on the bus today. I do a lot of good thinking on the bus. We win the battles. I think time wins the war. And what I mean by that is like this war, this sobriety war is a war between me and me, you and you, us and us, right? So it's we need something outside of ourselves to ultimately win the war. So it's like we can win the battles. We can say, I'm not drinking that beer. I'm not having that drink. I'm not drinking today. I'm not drinking this week. I'm not drinking this month. But I think it's the time we put in that eventually wins the war. We get enough time in not drinking that eventually we stop. Eventually we've like reprogrammed ourselves, reprogrammed our bodies to a point where it's just like, oh, I don't really need to do that. But it takes time. I think it's time that wins the war. We just got to win as many battles as we can. And we're going to lose some. That's just the nature of the beast. We are going to lose some, especially in the beginning. We're going to lose a lot, but we're also winning, right? This is not a one-way war, right? We are winning. A lot of times more than we're losing. We don't see it that way because like every time we have a relapse, we see that as like erasing all the past days of not drinking or not using or whatever. That's not the case. You know, we might take 5 steps up, 2 steps back. We still 3 steps ahead. I think we gotta start seeing it that way. You know, it's just like, okay, I went a month without drinking. Then I drank 1 day. I'm up 29 days, bro. As opposed to a couple years ago when I drank 365. This year I only drank 75. I am up. I'm getting sober. And we start to see the benefits in our life. That's the good thing too. Like you don't have to get totally sober to see the benefits of sobriety. We are on the path to sobriety. We are getting sober. And all along the way, you see benefits. You got a clear head. You know, a lot going on in the world these days. I think it's a great time to get sober because it's a great time to have a clear head. Navigate what's going on. But also for the things we're trying to do. You know, if you watch my videos, hopefully you're part of this community regularly. We got goals, we got dreams. We're not the type of people who just go through life accepting what, you know, other people throw at us or what society throws at us. We got goals, we got dreams. I know for me, like, even while I was still drinking, I was blessed to be able to start achieving and accomplishing some of those. But once I got sober, like it really, you know, because before I would accomplish a little goal, then I'd have a setback, usually because of drinking, accomplish a goal, have a setback. But like when I was able to just clear-minded, straight sober, just keep, you know, going after my goals, things really starting to open up, you know, just in all aspects of our life. As we're getting sober, it can improve. People around us, people around you, I promise you, we'll see a difference. They'll see a change. Even if it's just like, oh, that person gets to spend more time with me because they're not as drunk, or they're not hungover every Saturday morning, or they're in a much better mood because they're, you know, not an angry drunk anymore. You know, like stuff like that. You know, just seeing it that way as to like the whole process is a win. The relapses are going to happen. We don't really even talk about them, probably. You know, the thing, here's the thing too. When we have those relapses and they're very painful and we get down and, you know, it's like, bro, I went 3 months. Why did I? And it's usually like, in hindsight, you're like, why did I do that? You know, even something stupid. Like, why did I decide to drink this Tuesday? I didn't even do nothing. You know what I mean? And this is the shame and the guilt. I think we can use that though. We can use that shame. We can use that guilt and think about that. Next random Tuesday or Thursday, we really get the urge to drink. Be like, nah, bro, I already know on the back end. It's not like I'm gonna drink this time and suddenly be like, oh yes, I want to drink it. This is the best. No, we're gonna drink again, possibly, and have the same shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, the stories that we had before, which is why we decided we wanted to quit. We can use that. It's good. It's good. It sucks. It hurts. Ugh, it's a horrible feeling, but it's good. Because there was a time we would go do all that stuff and didn't have any embarrassment, any guilt. We have it now. And we can use that to like fuel us to like next time, like, nah, bro. Like, I don't even want them problems, bro. Like, I don't even want to hate myself tomorrow, bro. It's like, I really want to drink right now, but I don't want to hate myself tomorrow, bro. Like, it's not even. And I think you can get to the point with time where it's just like, yeah, it's not worth it, bro. You might still have some cravings, you know, different people's cravings dissipate different times. Once again, that word time, different people's cravings dissipate differently over time. But like, it can get to the point where you're like, I don't care if I'm craving it, bro. I don't want to. My famous analogy of like a relationship. We've all had people that we had a relationship with, maybe it ended, or a situationship, we had to cut it off, whatever. A little clandestine affair. I don't know what you do, but we had to cut it off. And if we had good reason for cutting off, there would be, you know, nights where we're like, man, I really want to get back over there and see Tasha like that, you know, but you're like, nah, I can't do it. She crazy. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I really want to get over there, you know, and see Eric like that. But, you know, nah, he crazy. He be tripping, you know? Like you get to that place where it's like, you might still have the craving and the desire, but it's just not worth it. Like, nah, I'm good. That's how it can get with like sobriety over time. He gets it, bro, like, I don't even want to wake up sick tomorrow, dog. For 10 years, I've been waking up sick. on Saturday mornings. I'm not doing it. I just want to lay in bed. Like, even if I don't get out of bed, I just want to be up and, get me a little breakfast and just have a good morning, bro. It's not worth it. We win the battles. I think time wins the war. The war can be won. And then, like, we just move on, bro. We get on with our life. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to be one of these people that, like, holds on. Like, your life doesn't, like, right now, when we're trying to, like, transition from, drinking to, like, not drinking, it's on our mind a lot because it's a struggle. But the day can come where, like, you don't even identify with any of that no more. A lot of times we think, oh, I'm going to have this, deal with this my whole life. Nah, once you win, once the war is over, you may still have memories of the battlefield. You may still have some scars, but that's not who you are. A soldier can put the weapons away, go home. Like, we can go back to what we originally were. I think a lot too about, like, when we were kids. We didn't drink, hopefully. And, like, we got through life and, like, we just lived. We didn't have these addictions. We can get back to that. That's home. That's what we're trying to get back to. And we can get back to that. And we might remember the struggle. We might remember, I laugh all the time about, the good old days when I was drinking. I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of drama with it too, why I quit. But, like, it's not a part of my life anymore. You win the war, you go back home, and we just get on with our lives. Like, it's behind us. Once again, if we do have a craving now and then, like, bro, like, I'm not trying to, nah, that was the past. I'm a different person. I've grown. Same person, but I've grown. That's still a part of me, but it's not who I am. So, yeah, once again, I think now's a great time to get sober. What else we got going on? That definitely nothing else going on is more important. Nothing going on is more important because a lot of the important things we're trying to do aren't blossoming because of the drinking, because of the addictions. So let's do what we got to do this 6 months, this year, like, really dig in, put in the work over the necessary amount of time so that we can get rid of that and get on to, like, really living this life. You know what I mean? In the comment section, if you have a moment and you want to share or you need someone to talk to, please put a comment, what you're going through, what you're trying to do, anything you want to say around sobriety. I definitely appreciate that, like, on this channel, in this community, a lot of people who've kicked the habits, and they have lots of encouraging words. A lot of people who still going through it, but can find encouragement from other people. We are not alone. We're not crazy. We're not weird. Millions, if not billions, of people going through the same thing we're going through, and we all can fight it. We all can beat it. So I love y'all. Talk to y'all later.